Hey there, fellow gardeners. Today I'm diving into something that's been quietly whispered about in old farming communities for generations, yet somehow got pushed aside by modern gardening practices. I'm talking about a soil amendment technique that was actually discouraged, and even banned, in some places during the Industrial Revolution. But here's the kicker. It still produces better results than your standard compost pile. I know what you're thinking. How could something our great-great-grandparents used possibly outperform the beautiful dark compost we've all been told is gardening gold? Well, grab your garden gloves and settle in, because what I'm about to share might just revolutionize how you think about feeding your soil. The technique I'm referring to is biochar incorporation, or as it was known in the 1800s, char manure, or agrichar. Now, before your eyes glaze over at the fancy terms, let me break this down in a way that'll make perfect sense. Our ancestors discovered that adding charred organic matter to soil created growing conditions that seemed almost magical. Plants exploded with growth, yields doubled or even tripled, and the soil stayed fertile for decades, not just a single season. This wasn't some new discovery either. Indigenous peoples in the Amazon had been creating terra preta, or dark earth, using this method for thousands of years, building soil so rich that it's still incredibly fertile today, centuries after it was last tended. So why did this incredible technique fall out of favor? During the late 1800s and early 1900s, the Industrial Revolution changed everything about agriculture. Suddenly, there were chemical fertilizers that promised instant results. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in a bag seemed so much easier than the labor-intensive process of creating and incorporating charred materials. Additionally, many municipalities began banning the burning of organic materials due to air quality concerns in increasingly crowded cities. The practice of creating char became associated with pollution and backwards farming methods. The baby got thrown out with the bathwater, and generations of gardeners lost touch with this powerful soil-building technique. Now, I'm not saying you should ditch your compost pile, far from it, but, understanding how these two amendments work differently will help you use them more effectively. Compost is like a gourmet meal for your soil. It's packed with nutrients, beneficial microbes, and organic matter that improves soil structure. It works relatively quickly, and you'll see results within weeks of application. However, it's also consumed relatively quickly. The microbes eat through it, nutrients get taken up by plants, and within a year or two, you need to add more. Biochar is more like building permanent infrastructure in your soil. It doesn't provide many nutrients on its own, which is why it works best when combined with compost or other organic amendments. But once it's in your soil, it's there for the long haul. It creates a stable habitat for microbes, improves water retention, prevents nutrient leaching, and actually helps your compost work more efficiently by giving those nutrients a place to stick around instead of washing away. Think of it this way. Compost feeds your garden today, but biochar builds a soil system that keeps getting better year after year. Gardens with well-established biochar can actually require less fertilizer and compost over time because the soil becomes so efficient at retaining and cycling nutrients. The good news is you don't need to break any laws or create air pollution to use this technique. Modern methods for creating biochar are clean and efficient. You can make small batches in a simple retort kiln, use a specialized biochar kiln, or even purchase pre-made biochar from sustainable forestry operations. The key is starting with the right materials. Hardwoods create the best biochar, but you can also use crop residues, nutshells, or even coconut husks. Avoid treated woods or materials with chemicals, as these can contaminate your soil. Once you have your biochar, don't just mix it straight into your beds. Raw biochar is like a brand new apartment building with no tenants. You need to charge it first, by mixing it with compost, worm castings, or liquid fertilizers. Let this mixture sit for a few weeks, allowing the biochar to soak up nutrients and begin hosting microbial life. This charged biochar is what you want to add to your garden. Start with about 10% biochar mixed into your soil or potting mix. You can go higher in sandy soils or lower in clay soils depending on your specific conditions. The beauty is that once it's in there, it keeps working indefinitely. Gardeners who've incorporated biochar into their soil consistently report some incredible benefits. Water retention improves dramatically, which is huge during dry spells or if you're trying to reduce irrigation. plants show more vigorous growth and better disease resistance, because the improved microbial activity creates a more balanced soil ecosystem. One of my favorite benefits is how it reduces the need for frequent fertilizing. That slow-release nutrient retention means you're not watching your expensive organic fertilizers wash away with the first heavy rain. Your soil becomes more forgiving, more resilient, and honestly, just better at being soil. Friends, our gardening ancestors knew something valuable that got lost in the rush toward industrial agriculture. This banned soil trick from the 1800s still outgrows compost because it addresses the fundamental structure of soil health in a way that creates lasting change rather than temporary improvement. I'd love to hear about your experiences with biochar, or if you're inspired to try this technique in your own garden. Drop a comment below, and if you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos where we keep digging into the wisdom of old-school growing methods with modern applications. Share this with your fellow gardeners who are ready to take their soil to the next level. Together, we're not just growing plants, we're growing incredible, living soil that gets better with time. Happy growing!